is the difference. So the question is, where does this variance come from? And the answer you can give on two ways. First of all, there is a difference in cost of sales. Cost of sales at standard are of course much higher under absorption costing than under variable costing. The difference is 158,000. On the other hand, you have that volume variance under absorption costing. Absorption costing, volume variance is only an issue of absorption costing, so this is 63,000. And opposite to that, you consider the full fixed manufacturing overhead under variable costing. And if you take these three cost positions, you see exactly that this is a variance of 29,000. So whenever it comes for explaining numbers, please use numbers and not only a more qualified explanation what you did. So maybe you could add to your presentation a reconciliation like that. You could also say that 29,000 in July stems from fixed product overhead, which is fully expensed in variable costing. Then you have a difference in the standard cost, which is based on fixed manufacturing overhead. And in addition, you have overhead volume variance, which is expensed under absorption costing, but which is not a position under variable costing. So, what I miss in this, again, this conclusion is not about auditors, it's also not about taxes. When we talk about management accounting, we never think for tax purposes. Tax regulations is a separate field. So what we do here is thinking about accounting for management purposes, not for tax purposes. So the first two arguments I would maybe adjust. Okay? Thank you very much. We are now, I have, before I forget this again, here is the attendance list. Please sign for last week also. Please, because I have not circulated the attendance list last week. This was, yes please.
I had one question.
Sure.
As you remember, we discussed the difference between operating income and absorption cost and variable costing is the difference between ending inventory and beginning inventory.
Yes.
But we don't receive same number by difference of inventory and cost of trade.
I guess if you have the inventories and if you compare the change in inventories, you should come up with the same numbers.
But
You tried it?
we have the data on inventories, but the difference is not 29.
Not in the difference in.
Ending and beginning.
Let's.
Should be multiplied with the fixed manufacturing overhead cost, because maybe it might be the case that fixed manufacturing costs, for example, in 2 months were different, and we have to take into consideration the difference.
Yeah, exactly. You have
Might
to.
be this case, because
Yes,
it was the same from
you
the
have to.
beginning.
You have to refer to the change, not to the absolute amount.
Yeah.
So to the change from inventories from June to July in both cases. And then it should be in line. But we'll discuss, maybe you come in the break and we'll discuss that in detail, because I'm not quite sure whether the full class can follow this detailed calculation. Okay? So, but our topic was management decision making, short-term decision making, by the way, and how management accounting is used for short-term decision making. And now we have a special field, and this very much relates also to your question, by the way, to the question which product should be preferred when it comes to constraints. So, for example, imagine there is a limited production capacity, but you have more sales opportunities for different products. And the decision is about which product should you prefer when it comes to short-term decision making, just based on profitability, not taking other aspects into the consideration. And we go back to our example of this Gabriela company, and they have two products, product 2 and 3, and remember the capacity is 3,000 machine hours in one period. And we have this example. And maybe you know from your bachelor studies how to approach it. Again, this is product number 2 and product number 3. You have a contribution margin for product number 2 of 170. Product number 3 has a contribution margin of 0.6. So, seems we should prefer product number 2. But there is some additional information to be considered. Product margin ratio, okay. This was exactly the information which was given in the case. So here it seems that the contribution margin ratio for product number 2 is much higher. So maybe number 2 would be favorable. You have different machine hours for one unit. So in order to produce 1 unit of product 2, 7 machine hours are required. In order to produce 1 unit of product 3, 2 machine hours are required. Oops. Now you see that capacity is It's important. And you know, while we have 3,000 machine hours, we have a maximum sales for product 2, 500. For product 3, 1,000. This means capacity required for at full sales. How much is it, Christy?
For full sales, it's like 500 for the first one.
500? How many machine hours do we need if we would sell
So 500 times 7. it's
500 times 7?
8,500.
Yeah.
And for the second one, it's 2,000.
Ah, okay. So, based on my short calculation, 5,500 machine hours are